This time we'll call this meeting to order. If you would, rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, this time I'll call on Anthony Johnson for our Point of Pride Awards.
All right, good evening, board. This evening we have several points of pride, so we're going to go ahead and get jump in and get started. First, we're going to recognize some of our students who recently participated in the JROTC All-Army, All-Service National Drill and Fitness Competition. And so if I could first have the cadet commanders or captains, as well as their sponsor, coach, and administrators from Kenwood High School to please come forward. Kenwood High School had both a fitness team and a drill team compete and rank in the national competition. So as they make their way up, I will share that Kenwood High School in Division III was the overall champions and best in nation for the All Services Fitness. Clap for that, yes. And they were overall all-service national drill team runners-up in the unarmed division. And I also want to recognize their subcategory placements. Unarmed Color Guard Division 3, first place. Unarmed Inspection Division 3, second place. Commander's Award, second place. Unarmed Regulation, third place. And Armed Color Guard, fifth place. Congratulations, national champs. All right, if I could have everybody here from Montgomery Central High School from JROTC to please come forward. They also competed in Division III. For the all-service, their armed color guard placed first place, their unarmed color guard placed third, and their armed inspection placed third. And for the all-army competition, the unarmed color guard placed first, and the armed platoon placed fourth. Congratulations, Montgomery Central. And if I could have West Creek High School to please come forward next. From West Creek High School, the JROTC also competed in the All-Service and All-Army. For the All-Service, their Armed Color Guard Division 1, and they were Division 1, I'm sorry, I apologize. They were Division 1, the other two Division 3. Armed Color Guard Division 1, second place. Unarmed Dual Exhibition, third place. Unarmed Color Guard, fourth place. And for the All-Army, Armed Color Guard, second place. Unarmed Exhibition, fourth place. And Unarmed Regulation Platoon, fifth place. Congratulations. All right, and next we're going to recognize students who competed in the Junior Classical League state competition. And if you were like me a few years ago and didn't know what that was, it's a Latin competition. So these are Latin scholars. So if I could first have Kirkwood High School, all of those students, along with their administrator and teacher representative, to please come forward from Kirkwood High School. As they make their way up, I'm going to read the individual awards that these students have achieved. These are mostly individual competitions. So David Lee was named Best in Show. Congratulations for that, being best in show out of everyone. And placed first place in classical art, first place Latin literature, first place Latin vocabulary, and second place in reading comprehension. Paxton Grandy, first place in the catapult construction, second place in oil pastels, and third place in the javelin toss. Ekaterina Olgetz, first place in historical costume. Reagan Oliver, third place in charcoal and pencil. And Jalen Park, second place in reading comprehension. Congratulations, scholars. And right down the street, if we could have Rossview High School and their Junior Classical League students to please come forward. A little bit of a rivalry here. All right, from Rossview High School, as they make their way up, Noah Amsbury, first place in geography, first place in Roman history, and second place in Hellenics. Lila Herman, first place in miscellaneous art. Michelle Kim, second place charcoal and ink. Suhani Patel, first place in sculpture. Jackson Ruiz, first place Roman life, and also considered best of show. Congratulations. Yes. Ashley Seo, third place pen and ink, and Jillian Smart, second place in maps. Congratulations, Hawks. All right, and next, if I could have the district lead music teachers and the related arts coordinator to please come forward. This is Miss Christina Wall, Mr. Andrew Gaskell, Miss Elizabeth Gaskell, Mr. Ben Torres, and Miss Madison Bryant. They are here tonight to accept this award on behalf of our over 50 amazing music educators. For the 11th year in a row, CMCSS has been honored with the Best Communities for Music Education designation from the National Association of Music Merchants. The Best Communities for Music Education designation is awarded to districts that demonstrate outstanding achievement efforts to provide music access and education to all students. Congratulations to our music educators, and we appreciate the support of the school board to ensure we have music programs in every school. All right, next is our students from Clarksville High School who competed in the Tennessee Bar Association Young Lawyers Division State Mock Trial Competition. Lots of long name competitions this today. All right, so from Clarksville High School, we have Joanna Bedwell, Olivia Cole, Adaisha Grimes, Katie Hawk, Austin Howard, Addison Imbush, Rory Lahan, Emma McKillop, Carson Susong, Jackson Tyndall, and their coaches Roy Buchanan and Matt Holman. And these students competed in the state competition recently and won third place overall in the state of Tennessee. Congratulations. All right, speaking of being a best community for music education, we're really honored tonight to recognize several students who made All-State and got to perform with other outstanding musicians from across the state. We're going to start first with Kirkwood High School. If those students, music educator, administrator, could come forward. Those students include Isabella Jeffries, who made, who made the All-State Choir, and Ignatius Olgetz, who made the All-State Band. Congratulations to both of you. And while they have their photo taken, I want to mention, you all might remember Ignatius from a few months ago. We recognized him for being a finalist for the National Merit Scholarship, and we just received news recently that he was an absolute finalist. So congratulations, Ignatius. All right, and next from Rossview High School, if those All-State students could come forward, that's Sashith Gudapati, who made the All-State Band, and Noah Jordan, who also made the All-State Band from Rossview High School. Are they here tonight? Maybe not. It's a busy night for a lot of people, so congratulations to them. And I know this one already told me they wouldn't be here, but just confirming, but from West Creek High School, we also had Skyla Wierzbicki, who also made the All-State Choir, but I don't think they're here, but we'll still recognize them anyway. All right, next we had two schools with students who placed in the Tennessee Speech and Debate Tournament. So if I could first have Kirkwood High School, those two students to please come forward. From Kirkwood High School, Viviana Young placed... Viviana placed first place in storytelling, and Allison Tamboya was second place in set design. Congratulations. And next, from Northeast High School, if those 4 students could come forward along with your administrator, teacher if they're here. From Northeast High School, Josh Woodard placed first place in original oratory, Jerry Wiles placed third place in humorous interpretation, and Ashley Mayo and Jerry Wiles together were third place in the duo interpretation. Congratulations. For our next category, as you all know, believe it or not, graduations start tomorrow. And so in May, we always recognize our valedictorians and salutatorians from each school. So I'll call up each school if both the valedictorian and salutatorian, along with your administrator, will please come forward so we could recognize you. First, Clarksville High School. Congratulations to Caroline Annalise Watts, our valedictorian from Clarksville High School, and Ella Claire Roberts, the salutatorian. Next, Kenwood High School. All right, from Kenwood High School, valedictorian Marion Van Belkom and salutatorian Grant Johnson. Congratulations. All right, next, Kirkwood High School. From Kirkwood High School, Elizabeth Fay, valedictorian, and Shanice Crowder, salutatorian. Congratulations. All right. Congratulations. Next, Montgomery Central High School. Their valedictorian is Christopher Scott Garber, and salutatorian Kenneth Joseph Reese. Congratulations. And next, Northeast High School, and I know you shared one wouldn't be here, but we've got salutatorian? Perfect, okay, all right. So from Northeast High School, not able to be here tonight, Rune Horn, the valedictorian, and salutatorian, Cassandra Dellinger. Congratulations. All right, next, Northwest High School. From Northwest High School, valedictorian Grace Ann Hanna and salutatorian Victoria Elizabeth Grace Manners. Congratulations. And next from Rossview High School, if they'll please come forward, and valedictorian Jillian Claire Smart and salutatorian Junie Kim. Congratulations. And from West Creek High School, if you all could come forward, please, we have valedictorian Laura Lee Castaneda and salutatorian Evan Sims. Congratulations. All right, and we have one last one, not on your agenda. We wanted to keep it a surprise. So if I could have all of the school board members, including student school board member Elijah Fuller, to please come up here. So Elijah, tonight we want to give you a special recognition as you are our inaugural student representative on the CMCSS school board. Elijah, we have all appreciated your kindness, maturity, wisdom, and dedication. You have been an exceptional representative of the student body, providing an important perspective to the board for our nearly 40,000 students. Thank you for your service on the school board, and we wish you the very best as you head off to college this fall. And that concludes this evening's Point of Pride. Okay.
Which one dropped off the list? Gotcha. She replied back she wouldn't come.
Okay, at this time, we'll call on our public comments. I don't believe our first one's here, but Nakoka Hairston, I don't think she is here. Okay, we'll move on. Xavier Lugo? Push your left button on your microphone. You have 5 minutes to speak. The timer will display.
Right, my name is Xavier Lugo, and many of you may know me as a parent with the dash cam footage that helped reveal what happened on March 27th of 2026, the day of the school bus crash, the one that claimed the lives of 2 children and injured many others, including my daughter. We have dealt with trauma, confusion, grief, and an unimaginable amount of stress these last few months of the school year. From the beginning, communication with affected family members were inaccurate. The day of the crash, CMCSS publicly stated that all parents had been notified. That statement was false. Many parents learned about the tragedy through calls from strangers, calls from distraught kids, social media, and their own desperate efforts. Not through the emergency communication system we were told we can rely upon. In the aftermath, parents seeking accommodations and excusals from TCAP testing for the affected students were met with excuses and a pass-the-buck attitude. The blame landing on the officials at the state level. Some families received guidance and support, and others received little to no communication at all. This inconsistency has deepened the frustration and pain we already carry. The leadership's handling of the situation has left many parents with the impression that testing participation and district metrics were a greater urgency than the emotional and physical well-being of the children. More troubling, many parents have experienced actions from Dr. Miller that felt retaliatory, dismissive, and intentionally harmful towards families already coping with unimaginable trauma. The Green Power students and our families should have been uplifted and supported privately at school without the need for photographers capturing their most raw moments. A few days ago, Green Power families were instructed via a message on Parent Square by Dr. Miller to meet in the classroom at 5:15 at the back of the school for graduation. Yet, the Green Power teacher herself was not notified. Had a parent not shared the info with the teacher, all of our families would have remained locked outside. Additionally, we were told we would have reserved seating, only to find out that this was not enforced and the seats were taken, and a majority of us didn't even receive a program. These details continue to show the disregard, indifference, and the failure of integrity in leadership. 53 days have now passed, and not one affected family has received assistance for the emergency medical care our children required that day, the weeks that followed, or the ongoing treatment many still need, including my daughter. Instead, we have been met with continued refusal by CMCSS to fully acknowledge responsibility or commit to an emergency fund beyond the $700,000 cap per incident. Now that's $700,000 for all 24 students. That doesn't even amount to $30,000 per student. That alone doesn't even cover the life flight that my daughter had to take. That bill alone was $100,000. While the district prepares for summer break, our families are preparing for continued medical appointments, therapy sessions, and trauma recovery, carrying the uncertainty of how to manage the long-term physical and emotional consequences of this tragedy. Our kids should have been spending the pivotal summer before high school enjoying childhood and making memories with friends. Instead, for many families, the summer will be defined by ongoing medical care, emotional healing, and the lasting impact of what happened while they were under the district's care. Parents are left to pick up the pieces of a reality they did not break. Yes. This is a defining moment. You can continue choosing silence, complacency, and damage control, actions that are unacceptable. Or you can choose accountability, transparency, and meaningful action in doing what's right and not what's easy. On March 27th, our children were left in your care. CMCSS was responsible for our precious children. Our community, my daughter, and I as a father demand a leadership that prioritizes children over public image, compassion over convenience, and accountability over avoidance.
Diana McLean. Is there a Diana McLean? Okay, moving on. Autumn Harper.
Oh, Deanna's here. Deanna's here. She's getting ready to speak. Thank you.
push the left button.
Hi, my name is Deanna McLean. My grandson is Javier McLean, 13 years old. He also was one of the bus victims that day. The bus accident on March 27 was every parent's worst fear coming to life. Answering a FaceTime from your child covered in blood in class is an image no parent ever wants to see. But some of the hardest moments were the moments following, when I tried to call the school and inform them a mere minute after the accident. I was refused contact with the principal. The front office hung up on me 8 times. 8 times. She told me that whenever it is convenient, she will have the principal call me. However, that moment was about convenience. This was a real emergency. Let me state it again. I called 8 times. Every other time, she told me that I was playing a sick prank and would hang up on me. I only got through to the principal when I called the nurse, begging for help. In that moment after, the communication from the school didn't exist. I put my lifeline in your hands, and in the wake of tragedy, the school went silent and didn't communicate with us. Following the accident, the hoops we had to jump through for our children when it came to school was exhausting. I've heard, you know what's the best for your child, a million times. When I advocated for that, what was the best, I was hit with obstacles. I was made to run around to multiple doctors for signatures and papers stating my child was in a fatal bus accident and isn't fit for testing. However, you all already knew that. The state already knew that. But yet, I was told to run and check off all these boxes for you all. It hasn't been 2 months since that day, yet it feels like years. And I wasn't even the one on the bus. I can only begin to imagine what these children truly feel. I know what happened that day was not something anyone planned, or at least I hope no one planned. But in the light of that accident, it has been so evident to me that the school system did not have an emergency plan in place. There was no rule book for leaders to follow, and I hope in that wake of this you all sit down and create something, so no other parent has to feel shut out of the way that I felt, so no other parent has to listen to a woman tell her that her reality is a sick prank. So no other parent has to grieve the way that none of us standing in front of you has to. The CMCSS motto the other year was better together. It would have been nice during the worst moments of our lives that CMC actually practices better together. Y'all a failure.
Autumn Harper.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Autumn Harper, and I'm here tonight as both a parent of 3 children who attend Clarksville-Montgomery County school systems and an advocate for students with disabilities. I also want to offer my partnership in helping address these issues. In 2018, I successfully won a systemic federal special education lawsuit in the 5th Circuit involving Clarksville-Montgomery County school systems and Tennessee Department of Education. While these issues may look different today, there are still significant systematic failures within our special education department affecting students, staff, and families across this district. Today, CMCSS is facing systematic failures within special education that are creating inequitable supports, unsafe conditions, overwhelming staff workloads, and inconsistent services for students with disabilities across the district. Related service providers and case managers are carrying caseloads so large that meaningful support becomes difficult and is nothing more than checking a box. Some occupational therapists are carrying caseloads as high as 160 students. Some speech and language providers are carrying caseloads as high as 195 students, and they are required to see some of those students, most of them, multiple times a month. Some case managers are responsible for 30 or more students, while other schools have significantly smaller caseloads and far greater staffing supports. Students with disabilities should not receive different levels of support simply based on the school that they attend. We continue to see high turnovers among CDC teachers and special education staff, creating instability for students who rely on consistency and structure. At the same time, schools are struggling to access district-level support. Teachers, administrators, and families are often unclear on how to obtain behavioral supports, intervention assistance, and specialized resources because requirements and processes continue to change. Some students can receive a functional behavior assessment in under 30 days, while I personally assisted one child whose FBA process took over 13 months. There's currently a child whose school requested district behavior support in August of 2025, but that support was not received until April of 2026. During that time, the school lacked staffing and behavioral resources necessary to appropriately support that student. We also have classes listed as general education, where more than 50% of students have IEPs, raising serious concerns and legal issues about least restrictive environment compliance and whether students are truly receiving appropriate services. Schools are also lacking adequate behavior supports and staffing. My own 7-year-old daughter sustained a skull fracture and concussion after another child repeatedly rammed her head into a brick wall in the school environment that lacked staffing and behavioral supports. These failures have real consequences for both students and staff. Educational assistants assigned one-on-one supports for students in IEPs are routinely pulled off to help with staff shortages elsewhere, leaving students without legally required services. Teachers are also being left alone in classrooms without support staff necessary to safely and appropriately service students. Families should not have to live in the best school zones to just access safe learning environments, manageable caseloads, and appropriate services for their children. So I want to ask this board directly, are you regularly going to the schools you represent? Are you speaking directly with the teachers, administrators, and staff that are in this firsthand? Not through filtered presentations or what y'all call fish bowls or carefully managed conversations, but actually observing classrooms, staffing levels, and support disparities firsthand. Parents across this district are raising concerns and not receiving meaningful responses. I've personally contacted the head of special populations twice last week, once during a recorded IEP meeting and a second follow-up call, and I've yet to receive a response. Tonight, I'm asking the board to conduct a comprehensive review of the special education staffing, caseload, budget allocations, classroom compensation, behavioral supports, and service delivery across the district. I'm also asking for increased accountability and responsive from the special education leadership to ensure that students are receiving equitable and legally compliant services, regardless of what school they attend. I want to leave the board with one final question. Are you truly doing everything you can to ensure that the most vulnerable students in this district are receiving the support services they need to become lifelong learners and educating and empowering them to reach their full potential? Thank you.
David Calgar. Is David here? Okay, moving on. Adam Ellithorpe.
Good afternoon, board members, administrators, parents, teachers, staff, and members of the community in attendance. My name is Adam Ellithorpe, and I'm the father of Mackenzie Ellithorpe, a senior at Montgomery Central High School. I stand before you tonight not out of disrespect, but out of responsibility. I stand here as a taxpayer, a parent, a community member, and most importantly, a voice for students and staff members who feel they cannot speak freely without fear of retaliation, damage to their careers, or threats to their livelihoods. Over the past several months, this community has watched one issue after another unfold within our school system. From the tragic bus accident that raised serious questions about safety, communication, and accountability, to the deeply troubling allegations involving inappropriate nude photos being showed to students while in class. The response from leadership has left many families feeling frustrated, unheard, and deeply concerned. What has disturbed this community almost as much as the incidents themselves has been the silence that has followed. The silence has been deafening. The parents have asked questions and received little to no clarity. Community members have demanded transparency and instead have been met with carefully worded statements, closed-door discussions, and a system that appears far more focused on protecting itself than rebuilding public trust. We understand that there are legal limitations at times. We understand there are personnel matters that cannot always be discussed publicly, but accountability and transparency are not optional. They're responsibilities for public officials. They are the foundation of public trust. This board was not elected to protect political interests, reputations, or internal relationships. You were elected to serve students, families, teachers, and taxpayers. Every seat on this board exists because this community funds it. The taxpayers sitting in this room tonight help pay for the buildings, the buses, the salaries, the programs, and yes, the very seats that you guys are sitting in. And with that funding comes an obligation to answer the public honestly and openly. Right now, many people in Montgomery County feel like they are being shut out of conversations that directly impact their children and their schools. Teachers and staff members are afraid to speak because they fear retaliation. Parents feel dismissed. Students feel unheard. Community members feel like transparency only exists when it is convenient. That can't continue. We cannot allow this to continue. We are not asking for perfection. No school system is perfect. Mistakes happen. Crises happen. Difficult situations happen. But leadership is measured not by whether problems arise. Leadership is measured by how honestly and responsibly and transparently those problems are addressed. Right now, this community is searching for leadership. We need a school board and administration willing to acknowledge failures openly, communicate clearly with the public, and place student safety and community trust above politics, public relations, and damage control. Because this is bigger than any one incident, this is about culture. It is about whether the people entrusted with overseeing our schools are willing to listen when the community speaks. It's about whether students truly come first. It is about whether staff members can raise concerns without fear. And it is about whether transparency exists only as a slogan or a genuine commitment to the people of this county. Tonight, I ask this board to understand that the community's frustrations is not rooted in hatred or division. It is rooted in disappointment. People want to believe in this school system again. They want to trust the leadership again. But trust cannot be demanded. It must be earned through honesty, accountability, and action. The people of Montgomery County are watching. Parents are watching. Students are watching. Teachers and staff are watching. And the silence is no longer acceptable. We are here tonight because we care deeply about our schools, our students, and the future of this community. We are here to demand better, not for politics, not for attention, but because our children deserve better. We will do better with no better.
Karen England?
I'd like to give my time to Ashley Ellsworth.
No, that's not allowed.
Do I have any courageous board members that'll make a motion to change that and allow her to speak in my place? That is in the board's purview. You can check with legal counsel. Casey will move. Do we have a second? Pastor, would you second it?
If y'all don't,
Can you have discussion in public, please? This is a public meeting for the community to hear.
There shouldn't be any whispering.
Aaron's not.
we'll Ashley speak
Oh,
in your stead.
well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, can I start?
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, my name is Ashley Ellithorpe. I stand before you tonight not only as a mother, but as a voice for the parents, students, and families in this community who are tired of trauma being met with silence and accountability being delayed. As a Christian, I believe God calls us to protect children, defend the vulnerable, and stand for what is right, even when it is uncomfortable. Scripture reminds us that whatever is hidden will eventually be brought into light. Truth matters, accountability matters, and our children matter. We continue hearing words like healing, investigation, and moving forward, but healing cannot happen without accountability. Trust cannot be restored without action. My daughter Mackenzie experienced trauma that has forever changed her life. As her mother, there is no pain greater than watching your child carry wounds that you cannot take away. Yet, where has accountability been? Families continue to ask questions. Parents continue to speak out, and many still feel unheard. And this is bigger than my daughter. Tonight, I also stand for the families affected by the bus crash. I stand for remembering Zoe and Ariana and all the unimaginable pain that these families continue carrying. I stand for every student and family carrying the trauma long after the headlines fade. These children trusted these adults to protect them, and parents trusted the school system to protect them. So I ask, how long will this district continue allowing these children to experience life-changing trauma while those responsible for protecting them avoid accountability? Student safety should never come second to protecting reputations. Leadership matters. Accountability starts at the top. God calls us to care for the least of these. Children are not politics. They are not public relation problems. They are precious and they deserve protection. Parents are exhausted, families are heartbroken, and this community deserves leadership that restores trust. We are not going away. We will continue showing up, speaking up, praying, and standing for these children because they deserve better. And many in this community believes it is time for new leadership in CMCSS. We will not stop until we see meaningful action, accountability, and leadership that truly puts children first. Thank you.
This time we'll move over to approval of consent agenda. Does anybody have any items they would wish to remove? Oh, Mr. Mabry?
Yeah, I want to take the student code of conduct off the consent agenda.
Okay. Item 3. Where does that move to? Move it to. Okay, does anybody have anything else they want to remove? Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Mr. Mabry motions, second by Ms. Berry. Okay, if you would, please open the vote. Is everybody satisfied with your vote? Ms. Berry? You good? Okay, please close the vote. Motion carries. All right, policy monitoring. Number 1, EL5, Financial Administration.
Board, please find in your board packet information on Executive Limitation 5, Financial Administration. This executive limitation has 12 compliance expectations to ensure there is no fiscal jeopardy or a material deviation from the annual budget or budget policy adopted by the board. All revenues are scheduled to be spent in accordance with the approved budget, and no funds have been borrowed without approval, nor have funds been expended from the fund balance without prior authorization. The actual ending fund balance will always be greater than 3% based on current levels of revenue and expenditure. Payrolls are processed per the published calendar, and all other obligations are paid in a timely manner. Purchases are made consistent with the state and district procurement codes. Sufficient internal controls are in place as documented in annual financial audits. In addition, all board accounts are audited annually by the State Comptroller's Office. Likewise, individual school accounts are audited per a contract with certified public accountants, and receivables are pursued as appropriate. Updates regarding revenue collections, rising costs, and capital projects are provided to the board through work sessions. To conclude, any proposed changes to the budget are approved by both board and county commission, and quarterly financial reports are provided to both the board and county commission. Chairman Lanier, this concludes Executive Limitation 5.
Is there a motion to accept? Jimmy and Casey, second it. Okay, if you would, please open the vote. Is everybody satisfied with your vote? Please close the vote. Motion passes. Okay, item 2, EL13, Career Technical Education Program.
Board, please find in your board packet information on Executive Limitation 13, Career Technical Education Program. This EL has 3 compliance expectations to ensure the Director of Schools shall not fail to develop high-quality, high school career technical education programs. Specifically, CMCSS has reviewed local, regional, state, and national job markets to determine if our current programs are meeting the needs of students and preparing them for future jobs. The 5th Annual Senior Hiring Expo was held on April 29th, 2026. Over 35 local businesses and industry partners with at least 5 entry-level positions, as well as representatives from multiple branches of military participated. Human resource personnel from each participating business shared company and available position overviews, salary and benefit information, as well as application and hiring protocols. You will notice in your packet the program expansions, dual credit enrollment opportunities, and industry certifications. The CMCSS instruction team has collaborated with other agencies and funding sources to allocate funds to support effective CTE programs that have also spread into our middle schools. Finally, we will continue to evaluate our 5-year plan with a review of current course offerings, student enrollment, and current and future job market trends. Chairman Lanier, this concludes Executive Limitation 13.
A motion for approval. Mr. Mabry, second by Ms. Berry. Please open the vote. Everybody satisfied with your vote? Close the vote. Motion carries. Okay, at this time we'll move on to the Student Code of Conduct. I'll pass it off to you, Mr. Mabry.
Thank you. I just want to bring up about the cell phones. We had the whole debate last year, and I believe that we were pretty clear as a board, and if I'm not mistaken, we were unanimous in the decision, or we were close there to it, that we wanted a blackout between start to finish, and we gave principals a discretion that if there was like a special assignment or something like that, that they could have their cell phones. Well, that has not been what's been happening. Principals have had, administrators have had a lot more leeway. Kids are, in some schools, are down the halls with their cell phones and stuff like that. So I'd like to readdress that here as we're voting on this, and either do away with that discretion or tighten it up in some way.
You have it.
So I guess I need to make a motion, don't I?
Right. Or what you're changing, or?
So before I make a motion, dude, I would like to hear what maybe the board has to say about this, but I will make a motion afterwards. But we'll just do this. I'll start off with this motion to eliminate the principal's discretion, the administrator's discretion, to have that true blackout. But as we have a conversation, I'm definitely open to changing the language a little bit so we could have at least what the intended nature was, which was discretion with the admin to allow special assignments or stuff like that. But it's not, they've gone far beyond what was our intention.
Okay. Any other discussion? Need a second just for discussion? Okay. He's got a motion. Is there a second? Miss Bryant? Second for Miss Bryant. Okay. If you would, please open the vote. Huh? Oh, discussion. Oh, second for discussion. Sorry. We're not voting. It's just a motion. He said a motion and a second, so we would have discussion on the cell phone policy. So we don't have to vote on it. Okay, so does anybody have any discussion further on the cell phone policy? Which part would you like to change, Mr. Mabry? There's down at the bottom. Is there a certain line you want to take out? I'm trying to see.
I'll see.
It was down at the very bottom. There's the line on here says the building principal may approve the use of cell phones or personal electronic devices for instructional purposes on a case-by-case basis, and the building principal may designate a specific time, such as lunch, when students may use phones, or, could y'all stop? Or specific personal electronic devices. It's in the black line at the very bottom.
When someone, I'm looking at you now, the language I'm talking about, can you speak to that?
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me, but that exactly what Mr. Lanier read was that caveat, and that was existing in the previous version, and that was carried over. I think that was based on feedback. I know when Mr. Lanier visited Dr. Anderson at Kenwood Middle School, he talked about that was something he had carved out as, maybe a reward or just that opportunity for students in lunch. I think what I'm hearing from you is that you might have some concerns that there might be some discretion in some buildings where it's gone beyond that. And so what I might ask is, could we take a look at some of those concerns and provide some guidance? Just because I would, personally, I know we've already gotten feedback. I would just kind of hate to take that discretion away from administrators if it's not being abused in a place. And so that's my only thing, but I understand your point as well. And maybe it's not working at every school, but that's that language that the principals could determine a specific time, not during instructional, that students could check their phones.
So if we're talking about the student code of conduct, point of order, Mr. Chairman, if the observation gallery continues to speak out during our conversation, they can be removed, correct?
Yes, that is correct. Please let us debate on this. Mr. Garland, or Mr. Mabry. If y'all can't stop, we'll have to remove you. That's your final warning.
So, Dr. Lunevetter, from what Mr. Johnson just said, could we then provide that additional communication towards our administrators to make sure that they truly did understand our intent when we did pass this?
Absolutely. We can have that conversation, and especially if we have some specifics with schools, but we can definitely have that conversation.
Okay. With that, if that is the case, then I'd be okay withdrawing that, and then we can continue on the way it was written.
Okay, Mr. Garland.
Yeah, that was my question, is which schools are we talking about? Is it all 40 schools, or is it just 1 or 2 schools? I think we need to let the adults handle their jobs and their responsibilities. To change it in midstream like this, I think it would be we haven't fixed anything. If the schools, if 90% of the schools or 100% of the schools, except for one school, is doing what they're supposed to do. That's my concern.
Okay. Ms. Bright?
I've heard from several students, specifically students, that the policy it's been very widely not used like we have planned. So I agree. I think that maybe not the language, but maybe the communication with the intention of the language needs to be discussed, because I know the students that I've talked to have been in several different schools that are experiencing that. So I think it's good that we at least have a discussion.
Anybody else? I agree with the same thing they've said, so. Anybody else? Oh, Mr. Mabry?
So just to make, since I muddied the waters just a little bit here, it would be great to get that feedback from you, Dr. Lindevetter, so we can, and if we need to bring this back up, I guess in a month, we could do that. If we did need to make a change in it, but I just want to definitely have that conversation. But so I'll move, Mr. Lanier, I'll move to accept the changes as were put in the consent agenda and move forward with that.
Okay. So motion, is there a second? Is there a second to accept as read? All right, Mr. Griffey, so there's a motion, a second. Please open the vote. Right. I want to make sure y'all understand that we're voting on the proposed, not what he said. Okay. All right. Everybody satisfied with your vote? Please close the vote. Motion carries. Okay. Move on to Fort Campbell School Liaison Officer. Is she here? That's not her. No. Yeah. CMCEA representative.
Good evening. I'm here to speak about a problem that affects every classroom in this district: the lack of funding for educators and the growing expectation that educators personally cover the gap. Educators currently receive $200 per year in TISA funding to buy instructional supplies for their classroom. In my classroom, that means that I can buy another toner cartridge and a box of paper. That is all that my $200 covers. Pencils, paper, books, tissues, cleaning supplies, decorations, incentives, and rewards for students, even basic instructional materials, comes from the Outlaw bank account. These are not luxury items. These are necessities for students to learn in a safe and productive environment. Educators are scored on the environment of their classroom through the Team General Educator rubric, which helps determine their overall level of effectiveness score. In order for educators to score as significantly above expectations, and that is what most educators strive for, their classroom must, and these are the bullet points from the rubric: welcome all members and guests, is organized and understandable to all students, supplies, equipment, and resources are all easily and readily accessible, displays student work that frequently changes, and is arranged to promote individual and group learning. Funding is needed to create a welcoming classroom. Buy readily accessible supplies and display student work in an organized and understandable manner. All of that needs funding. In other words, for educators to do well on their state mandated evaluation, they are required to create a classroom environment that requires funding without enough funding. There was a bill brought up this past legislative session to address increasing the amount of money that educators receive to buy instructional supplies. It had overwhelming support in the education committees, and I thank our legislators for their support of that bill. But it did not make it into law due to funding. This is discouraging because while it is acknowledged that educators need more classroom funding, it is not a priority. I understand that budgets are difficult and that every district faces competing priorities, but funding classrooms is not an optional expense. It is an investment in our students, our workforce, and our community's future. Educators struggle to pay their own bills, and they should not continue to be expected to fund their classrooms. I ask that we work together to prioritize our educators and our classrooms. Thank you.
County Commissioner Beal.
And then there was one. Here's my question. I actually have a question and a comment. My question is, are the board packets available to the public and the county commission as well for viewing?
Or the what?
The entire packet. Are those available?
Yeah.
Where?
The board packet?
Where are they?
I think they're just on the website, aren't they? Listed every time?
This is what's on the website.
Okay.
This.
You're talking about the slide deck.
It's not, you have to request it from Latanya. I do it every single time.
Okay.
It's not like other school districts across this state. It's not available. You have to ask Latanya every single time.
Yeah, because we heard you guys talking about the cell phone deal, but we have no clue what you just voted for. So, it would be good for us to know that, especially those of us on the commission. My comment is, while you guys are looking at the student cell phone policy, I would encourage you to look at the staff cell phone policy also.
Student Board Member Elijah.
As my term comes to a close, I've spent a lot of time reflecting on everything this experience has meant to me. Serving as the first student representative on CMCSS Board of Education has been one of the greatest honors of my life, and I'm incredibly grateful for every opportunity, conversation, and lesson that has come with it. Looking back now, I realize how much this experience shaped me as both a leader and a person. I had the privilege of meeting dedicated educators, administrators, board members, and community leaders who care deeply about the future of students in Clarksville-Montgomery County. Their passion and commitment has been a great inspiration to me. I would also like to thank family, friends, teachers, coaches, and mentors who supported me throughout this journey, whether through football, volunteering, academics, mentoring, or board service. Each experience taught me the importance of leadership, humility, and service to others. Most importantly, thank you to the students and community who trusted me to represent them. Hearing your perspectives and advocating on your behalf is something I always carry with me. This role gave me memories and experiences that I will never forget, and I'll always be proud to have served our community in this way. As I pass this role on to the next student representative, I sincerely hope they accomplish far greater things than I ever could. I hope they continue finding new ways to uplift student voices and leave an even stronger impact on our schools and community. If this position continues to grow and improve with each new representative, then I believe its future will be incredibly meaningful for students across CMCSS. Although this chapter is ending, I know the lessons and relationships built during this time will stay with me for years to come. Thank you all for making this journey incredibly meaningful.
Thank you. Board members, comments? Ms. Berry?
I was going to suggest what you said, Joshua, the fact that we need to make sure that we look at the policies that govern the teachers in the district. And also I want us to think about, this is military appreciation and focus on military families as we go into this Memorial Weekend. You know, people don't understand the sacrifice that many of the military families give. Many of us who, I know my child from the time she started kindergarten to 9th grade, she had moved 9 times. New schools, new communities, starting all over. It's very painful also when family members are deployed and you're left alone, and we only have those people that embrace us that are in our communities and our neighborhoods. And if you have someone who has a family member deployed, embrace that person. Let them know you care. When my husband was deployed at one time at my school, I never figured out who did it, but someone left me an incentive, a motivation every day he was gone. And it made such a difference in my life. Also, we got our first cat when he was gone, which the cat ended up peeing on his side of the bed when he got back because he didn't like him. But we do what we have to do to support our military families. I've adopted a few guys and enjoy being a mother figure to them. Just embrace our military, let them know that we care, and appreciate what they do, because freedom truly is not free. And they come back, and we have to deal with whatever problems they have. And so we just ask that you pray for our military and that you embrace them. And not only that, let's be kind to one another. You know, we don't have to be nasty. We can choose to be loving and kind. And that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Yeah. I thought Jimmy was next, but did you unpush your button? But Mr. Mabry's on the.
I agree as well with the employee handbook, and have looked into that and had conversations about that. So I agree with that. I just want to say to Elijah, but we are just so thankful to have had you. It was actually Mr. Herbert Nelson that made that motion to have a student school board member, and our board fully supported it. And it's been an honor and joy to have you here. We have a new member joining us, I believe, next month, right? New school year, okay, so new school year. So I guess I'll meet him in August, so it'll be my last month. I'll meet him in August. But I just want to say it's an honor having you here. You're an outstanding young man of character. And I've seen you even out in the community at Chipotle one day, and you came right up to me. And it's just so thankful to have you here. And congratulations on graduating. And I also want to say to all of our seniors out there, congratulations. We'll see you here this week.
Mr. Garland?
I would just like to remind the board members that tomorrow starts what we are here for. Graduations, starting at 12 o'clock tomorrow up through Saturday. You know, I congratulate every teacher, every student, every member of the staff for the work that you've done. Somebody said that we're not perfect. No, we're not perfect. Never have tried to be, never will declare to be. But we are the best in what we do. We try to do the best we can for the students that are assigned to Montgomery County, whether people believe it or not. And thank you, Dr. Luna, for the work that you do and for all that you do. See you tomorrow.
I just want to thank everyone as we went to do the reading rodeo with the Kiwanis Club. It's a big undertaking. Thanks to transportation and all the third grade teachers and everybody that made that happen. It really means a lot to them. For those that don't know, we served 3,300 students that day, and beyond just this school system. As I still have dirt and everything else from my fingernails from cleaning up from the rodeo. It's a lot of work that goes into that, so I thank y'all for your part in getting them down there. Anybody else? Move on to the Director of Schools report, Dr. Linda Vitter.
Good evening, board members. As mentioned, tomorrow does kick off the CMCSS graduation ceremonies that will be held Wednesday through Saturday for nearly 3,000 seniors who will be 2026 graduates. Last week, we also had the honor of attending the first CDL-A graduation in the history of CMCSS. 11 students obtained their CDL, and they're the very first in the state of Tennessee who earned this license during the school day through a public school. I want to acknowledge the late Representative Jeff Burkhart, who worked very closely with us to get that program off the ground and make that happen. Chairman Lanier, this concludes my report for the evening.
Okay. With that, we're adjourned.